You know, he wants to hang out with you now. It's like, for what? You think he's cute.
Hollywood men that I just watched go up there, they all come down all sad and nice. All of them wearing Sean John and looking oily.
Breaks on Diddy's private lifestyle. This changes everything. Terrence Howard just bombshelled that in Hollywood. He might have shared some secrets way than anyone imagined. In a recent interview, told that Diddy invited him over for what seemed like a normal hangout. But things turned fast. At first, it sounded like business. Diddy told him he wanted help with acting. Then he switched gears to hear Terrence's music, which didn't seem too weird until the vibe changed completely. Terrence said something just didn't feel right. He wasn't doing any real work. He just sat there watching him quietly, like he was seeing him or something. Terrence described the whole moment as settling, saying a Hollywood can twist your mind if you're not careful.
Things are still operating there. Things are still moving right along. Was Epstein Island ever raided?
He invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, to be his acting coach for a while. There, and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what material you want to work on? Looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music, so play the music. Just looking at me, like waiting, okay? So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. It was like, for what? I think he's trying to you, said. I was like, oh, okay, now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands off somebody.
Howard didn't hold back. He said when people start losing money, missing out on roles, being desperate, they end up doing things they'd never normally do. People like Diddy and Epstein swoop in and take it to chaos.
Losing out money, you got to take them through so much to try and deal with life. You are literally, it's an unhealthy space, and so eventually you're going to go too far. Who knows what happened? Who knows what he had to do in order to get to where he was at? There's a lot of things that people do that end up sitting and they can't get over it.
To Terrence, there's a much bigger behind the scenes: power, secrets, and flat-out control. He hinted that it's not just about who owns you once you reach a certain level. That's where the Epstein link gets chilling. For years, Epstein was using his private influence to the rich and getting leverage over them in ways nobody exposed. Now, with more talk about secret networks and elite parties, we're starting to think the lines between Hollywood and politics might be way blurrier than we thought. Even Katt Williams has said Hollywood runs on hidden games most people don't see. So when Terrence spoke up, there's more proof that something's going down behind those doors. He said, you can call it jokes, but the only people who don't laugh are the ones who were on that shuttle.
And they got to keep getting high, hoping to get it out of their head. But when you lose your man card, that's the only thing I got. You lose your damn man card.
What does that mean by that?
You give up your right to being a man. A man gives it. So when you give up that man card, you don't get that.
Are you saying?
Now, I'm saying what I'm saying. You don't get back. You come into this world as a man one time. You give up that right for anything, for fear of being hurt, fear of doing something, for wanting to gain something. When you give up that man card right, you lose some spiritual energy that has always been pushing through, and gives up her womanly right of being a mother and taking care of her family and do all those things. When you give up those things, but when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was going to be a consequence for what they were.
That line hit hard. It stuck. Katt Williams and Howard might be from what they're in the industry, but there are people like Whitney Webb who've been digging into this stuff for years. Whitney not just guessing, dots, seeing the same shady patterns in how guys like Epstein and Diddy seem to move. These men did alone, close, connections and business partners with serious pull.
A lot of people indeed do ask that. How do you know what goes on if you weren't at it?
Right.
They would have these parties in the Hollywood Hills. They would have a parking lot where they would shuttle people up. So everybody would meet in this parking lot and they would send shuttles to, Diddy. I would go to the lot and I would watch them all go up there.
And somehow, those big names always manage to stay out of real trouble. No charges, no investigations that ever go anywhere. That's the part Whitney keeps calling out. The same powerful figures pop up untouched.
5 hours later, still in the parking lot when they come down. Just to see all them big time Hollywood men that I just watched go up there, they all come down off the sad and nice. All of them wearing Sean John oily, and they all walk crazy like this. Their shoelaces were always untied, I don't know why. And then they would get in there and they would drive off standing up. Big boy, all of them. I couldn't.
Now, with all three, Terrence and Whitney, echoing the same kind of warnings, it's getting harder for people to pretend nothing's going on. Hollywood clearly has layers let's never see.
In a nutshell, the interest in the Diddy case was similar to my interest initially in that, the media narrative is about these cases is sort of, very focused on either Epstein and like they were the mastermind of all of this stuff, and people never exist in a vacuum. They tend to have significant benefactors that somehow evade persecution or even investigation. That's very obvious, but I think it's also pretty true as it relates to the Diddy case as well.
There are secret deals and quiet power plays that who climbs and who falls. But sometimes the real story isn't what happens inside those mansions. It's what happens to the people who leave them looking forever.
A lot of similarities in the charges in some ways to the Epstein and also Ghislaine Maxwell cases. But what's interesting though is that, whereas with Ed and Maxwell, it was sort of the FBI and SDNY leading, the Diddy case had a lot of involvement from the Department of Homeland Security.
And one person who's Diddy out for years with no fear at all is Jaguar Wright. Jaguar Wright is again, this time speaking out that wild conspiracy. And according to her, the real crimes aren't happening in dark corners or shady alleys. They're happening right in front of us.
That, Epstein was involved heavily in the human trafficking to where Wayfair, there was, some young girls missing the past few decades where a girl goes missing, Wayfair will technically have a piece with the young girl's name at a listed price of, $10,000, $12,000, $8,000. Pieces of furniture were sold. There's receipts of that. A lot purchased by Jeffrey Epstein's assistant, as far as possibly tracking. And those same items that were listed, if we go back on there and see them down for regular dollars, to where they were using the Wayfair as a way, which is as a way to sell.
She said the worst secrets hide in plain sight in regular houses and quiet neighborhoods, completely normal. You could have no clue what's really going on behind those doors.
To see that, just give me possibly that level of execution when it comes to human trafficking.
To that business, it's a huge business. None of us are here to have conversation. I've sat here with y'all and I've talked to y'all about girls getting around on buses, girls getting moved on video shoots. There's 82 ways to sell a human being. The question is why is it so hard to any of that stuff applicable?
Jaguar people love to label her crazy anymore. With more facts and coming out of time, folks are finally starting to, she might have been telling the truth all along. She said it's always easier for people to attack the messenger than to face the uncomfortable message they bring.
Which is now Universal Studios. I think the same is true for Russell Simmons' label Dem, but I think in their case it was CBS Records, which is also related to Davis' story. Clive Davis was, at sort of the at a major post within the CBS recording subsidiaries. He got involved in this major payola scandal, what basically is when bribery to get, singles of an artist or a particular played more on certain stations.
She also broke down why so many of these cases take forever to be exposed. Either people leave the victims or too terrified to speak out for their lives. Now we're hearing the same warning signs from totally different people, different backgrounds, but somehow they're all pointing toward the same truth. Power protects itself. And sometimes the world of it overlaps with other circles that most of us never imagined. Take this, for example, Prince Andrew, full name Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, the younger brother of King Charles that's just been arrested on suspicion of
Windsor, the younger brother of King Charles III, comes on Andrew's 66th birthday. The former prince, who was stripped of his royal titles late last year over his ties to convicted Jeffrey Epstein, is now in custody, being questioned on suspicion of misconduct in public office, a serious charge that on conviction is a life prison sentence. Police arrested him at his home on one of the king's royal estates this morning, a few hours outside of London. They're now carrying out searches at 2 addresses in that area. They're also assessing reports that the former royal sent sensitive trade to the billionaire pedophile back in 2010.
Yeah, arrested. Police, the investigation is digging into he may have leaked documents to Jeffrey Epstein while he was serving as a UK trade envoy. That can alone has everyone talking. Of course, being arrested doesn't automatically mean guilt. It just means there's enough to push for this actual conviction be massive. Misconduct is no small offense under UK law. It carries serious penalties. And just to make things clear, this case is completely separate from the earlier civil one. Back in 2022, Prince Andrew quietly settled his lawsuit with Virginia Giuffre, the woman who accused of abuse when she was a teenager. The case ended with no admission of guilt, but the shadow of that accusation never really went away. And now, police are making it clear that this new investigation has nothing to do with that old case, though the link just keeps creeping back into the picture.
From investment opportunities around the world, in Pakistan and Hong Kong. Police departments across the UK have previously said they were reviewing ties between Andrew and Epstein, including allegations that a woman was transferred to the UK by Epstein to have an encounter with the king's brother. Andrew, always denying any wrongdoing in relation to Epstein, says he regrets their friendship.
Fresh documents have surfaced suggesting that Andrew may have forwarded official including Vietnam and Singapore, straight to Jeffrey Epstein. Once those files became public, the anti-monarchy group known as Republic officially reported him to the police. That move only added more fire to the headlines. And it's not just Andrew scope. A shocking list of billionaires are getting one after another, are scrambling to save their names in the most unusual ways. Werner, for instance, now claiming that after whatever went down, the web around Epstein just keeps getting wider and messier. Every new and leaked detail seems to pull another powerful figure into the spotlight. People are finally starting to realize that this wasn't just one man's operation. It was a whole network built on favors, silence, and fear. And guess who's again caught in the conversation? Reports are that investigators are looking into his ties to some of the same elites who once ran in social circles. It's raising serious questions about what kind of influence and connections. Nothing's been confirmed yet or by the day. Meanwhile, insiders claim that certain files to old Epstein business dealings mysteriously appearing or being from the public. That's got people wondering if someone harking over to keep names or Hollywood insiders are buzzing there could be of exposure coming. Not just at certain parties who funded the tensions rising fast, and it feels like something is about to. Everyone's watching to see once one domino falls, crashing down too. Now the spotlight's turning up even hotter, and the woods around Hollywood are starting to sound more like alarms. Sources claim federal investigators might be revisiting some old cases, ones that were quietly brought to go. This time, digging private flights, gatherings together, saying this could be the biggest wave of exposure the industry's ever seen. What's even wilder is that some of the same private jets and mansions linked to Epstein are rumored to have hosted parties attended by music and movie moguls. Diddy's name keeping up, if you might be sweating too. Nobody's officially it's so thick it's to ignore. Reporters are saying that a handful of people to these events have already started lawyering up fast. The timing, especially as more are coming forward with stories that line up just a little too perfectly. And now fans are starting everything, from who's really running the industry to how deep this whole thing goes. The walls see closing in, and it's only a matter of time before someone cracks and starts for real. One truth bomb could blow this entire story wide open. Again, now things are heating up to a whole new level. Behind the scenes, the silence is breaking, and it looks like some insiders are finally ready to talk. Sources close to the investigation claim that a few people went to these powerful circles cooperating with authorities. That means real names, real receipts, and real stories be coming out soon. Rumor has it that several sealed files could reveal communications between top celebrities, business moguls, and political figures, connected through mysterious charity events and investment. The timing couldn't be worse for those involved, especially since investors are reportedly checking flight logs, bank transfers, and security footage from years back. It's giving major no more hiding energy. Meanwhile, insiders are whispering that stars are already planning to flee or go off grid for a while. A few have even wiped their social media clean, deleting old photos and any hint of association. It doesn't go unnoticed, and fans are together forever. Commentators are calling this the before the truth, saying we're beginning of something massive. The air's thick with tension, and everyone's watching, wondering which name will drop first. If what's rumored is this next phase could change everything about how power, fame, and silence have worked in Hollywood for decades. When you step back and look at the picture, it's clear. This isn't just about Hollywood anymore. Terrence Howard opened up about strange invitations that didn't feel right. Katt Williams drops out what really goes down at the parties. Jaguar Wright spoke out about how dangerous networks hide right in plain sight. And now, even a senior member of the British royal family is being investigated over Epstein-related ties. It's wild, kind of seems to be playing the world. And that's truly chilling, because if so many powerful people are connected, then this doesn't look like random scandals anymore. A carefully built system, one that's been running under everyone's nose for years. So the question now is, how deep does this really go? And who's exposed? In the comment, do you think more connections are to come out? Forget to subscribe, share, and keep them going, because this story is far from over.